friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. I'm on the floor today wearing slithering green and we are going to talk about dramione fanfiction recommendations. I don't know if this is my problem or you guys have the same dilemma where after you guys finish a big piece of work, you really don't want to start another big piece of work because your attention span is too short, but at the same time you don't want to read one shots either because they're too short and they don't satisfy all of your reading needs. I don't know if it's my own problem on my own attention span, but whenever I do find myself in that situation, and I find myself in that situation a lot, I would turn myself to shorter story or longer one shot where we have about like 10 to 15,000 words to read because they are longer than one shot. The authors have a little bit more real estate to expand on their timeline to build out their characters, but they also don't require as much commitment as a bigger piece of work. And so I kind of get the inspiration to make this video today where I'll give you guys recommendations on such story, about 10 to 15,000 word in length dramione story where you guys can just satisfy your reading needs without the need to commit too much of your time or your emotion into those stories. So let's get the video started, shall we? The first story that I want to recommend to you guys today is also kind of like the story that gave me the idea to make this video, so I want to make sure that you guys get it first, and that is Modality by Dirty Mudblood. This is about a little bit more than 18,000 words in 8 chapters. It is a post-war story where Draco is an aura. He has been injured in an accident and was placed in Hermione's care. So Hermione is a healer in this story. With that synopsis or that premise, you guys may think that this is a very simple story, and this idea is not uncommon in the dramione fandom, but I can assure you that this story cannot be further away from the word symbol. It is such a multi-dimensional story, but at the same time like so sweet and so tender. I love how the author kind of show us the depth of the character for Draco and Hermione in order to kind of show us the deep connection that they have, but also how much they care for each other and how much they treasure each other and why they treasure each other so much. If all of that doesn't convince you to read this story, another aspect that I really love about this story is the friendship between Draco, Harry and Ron, and everything in this story is just so perfectly executed, and like the reading experience is just super fun, but at the same time like it will leave you kind of weeping inside as well. So I would say that this is one of like the most tender and soft love story that I have ever read in the dramione fandom, and this is one of the story where I don't forget ever after I finish reading this story. So please go ahead, make sure you read this story. Of course it's really short, you guys can just knock it out in one go, but it will leave such an impression on your whole dramione reading career. The next story that I want to recommend to you guys has been recommended before on my channel, but I kind of just make sure that I recommend this story whenever I have a chance because I just think that it deserves much more hype than what it has, and that is Bus Stop by Malay Fever. With this story we have a series of vignette story, and I have already made a video on series of vignettes, so if you guys want to check out more series of vignettes, one shot story, I would recommend check out this video. But for Bus Stop we have about 15,500 words, and this is once again a post-war story where Draco and Hermione unexpectedly run into each other as a bus stop. It's just revolved around the two of them, just Draco, Hermione, nobody else in this story. So if you guys just want a dramione centric story with no fringe, no nothing, this story is going to be perfect for you because every day we get to see how they interact with each other, how they grow into the love that they have for each other. I just have no word about this story. It's a simple read that's gonna make you down into a puddle, so I would just recommend going and read this story. It's just super freaking cute. It's gonna be a mood booster to you even though it's just super short, and then it will make you crave for some more, and that's how you know that our story is very good. Next story I want to recommend is by Dramione, and that is Under the Wing of Shadows. This is a post-war 8-year story where Draco and Hermione both come back to Hogwarts and they have to share a living quarters, and that is enough for me to start because I just love forced proximity. First of all, 8-year story, second of all, and just that enemy to friend to lover and that post-war connection between Draco and Hermione, and I think that that is enough for you guys to go into this story. You guys may know Dramione from the fic Until the England Rise or Best Shots, and both of them are just among my favorite in the dramione fandom. I cannot get enough of Dramiane's writing, but in this story we have just a little bit more than 17,000 words, one chapter, so it's a huge one shot. But just because it's a one shot, don't write it off, because the quality of these one shot that Dramione put out for us is just mind-blowing. This one shot will give you enough material to just cry, to just melt down into a puddle because they are just so cute. Plotline or the details may sound very common to you. This is one of the stories that you won't come by that often in the dramione fandom. The details and the connection, the skinships, the moments between Draco and Hermione is just to die for, and it is true among all of Akio mini stories. So if you guys have fell in love with Until the England right before, make sure you run to read Under the Wing of Shadow, because I just love this story with all of my heart, and the way that they love each other. Go ahead and read this story. The next story is a super cute story. It's another post-war story, and that is More Than One Way to Win by Scully Murphy. I think that this could be my favorite work of Scully Murphy ever. We have a little bit more than 18,000 words, 7 chapters in this story, and this story is about a bet. About a partner in crime story, because Draco has been there to take Hermione to the ball, and Hermione needs somebody to go to the ball with so that she can impress and make Ron jealous. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make you guys want to just go ahead and read this story? I swear to God, these premise, the way that I say it, seems very simple, seems like a common idea in the dramione fandom, but these stories are just so special. They are kind of like one of a kind story, and I know I have said this for every single recommendation that I start this video with, but you guys have to trust me here, because some of the details that we have in More Than One Way to Win is going to stay in your head rent-free, okay? One of them, spoiler alert, is Hermione wearing Draco's jersey to a Quidditch game. And maybe I'm just a sport girl, but that detail is just The one thing that I love about this story though is, even though the premise sounds like they are very childish and they have their own agenda and they kind of like they want to make people jealous, they want to be impressive in front of their friend, but they are super mature in this story, okay? They are so understanding and their love is just so tender, so soft in this story. You just have to make sure that you go ahead and read this story, and whenever you need a mood booster kind of, I would recommend this story because it is just super soft, simple read, quick read that will lift your mood in an instant. Next recommendation, we have kind of like a more solemn story. We have Note of Melancholy by Dark of the Moon. This is a wartime story, safe house type, where Draco has defected to the Order of Phoenix. He is now working on the field doing mission after mission for the Order, while Hermione is a healer. And Draco has a thing to always come back to the one safe house that has Hermione, because Hermione is able to heal him in a way that other healers may not be able to. Does that make you want to read this story yet? That Dark of the Moon is among my favorite authors in the dramione fandom, and I would gladly read anything by her. In fact, I binge read probably most of her work except her longest fic, and I will get to that later on this year. But Dark of the Moon is just a witch when it comes to writing the love between Draco and Hermione, because she just mastered showing us their love without doing too much of dialogue between the characters, and you can see how their love is like slipping through the word, glaring us in the screen, even though they never said I love you or they never said any of the sweet thing. The thing that they do for each other and the way that they show their love is like enough to show you how much they love each other. And that's just my thing when it comes to dramione, because I feel like they are not very talkative characters when it comes to love, but the way that they show, that's where the money is at, okay? So go ahead and read this story. It's just perfect. I swear to God, I promise you, okay? Next, we're coming back to post-war again with a idiot in love kind of misunderstanding trope story, and that is Off the Cuff by Abroma. In this story, we have just a little bit under 17,000 words, 3 chapters, full of angst, because they are just idiots, okay? It's like the heart squeezing ang type, because they are so stupid. They don't see what's in front of them and they think that the other person is not in love with them, where like they are just the other person whole world type of angst until the very end. That's just my trope, because I love reading story where it's just so angsty. It's like squeezing your heart, it's like making you cry, making like your legs weak, but at the same time like give you a happy ending that is so deserving. I don't know if it's deserving because they are idiots, but you know, you get what I mean, like angst, and then happy ending. That's my type. I didn't think I would fall in love with this story because I hate when they don't understand each other, but at the same time this story just like had me in a chokehold. Like I love this story so much I went back and reread it many times, like word for word, okay? Next, we have The Art of Diplomacy by Rizzo. We have just about 14,000 words. This is a post-war story, but the war I would say doesn't really end, because the two parties signed a treaty in order to kind of like cease the war. Draco and Hermione, they are kind of like the representative, because what are they if not the poster child of the two sides of the war, right? So they are like the representative of each side, and every year they will see each other once in order to kind of like reinforce the treaty and make sure that the war doesn't like boils up again. If that doesn't say enough about the complexity and the complications of their relationship, I don't know what will. But that is just a typical Rizzo piece of work for you. Like, no love between Draco and Hermione is easy with Rizzo. They have to walk through like seas and mountains in order to be together, and you will find that in this story. And if you guys are just in for like a realistic development between Draco and Hermione with a perfect execution, perfect writing, perfect everything, then please go ahead and find Rizzo, this and any of her work. This story, it just makes me feel such a different emotion, and I usually do with any of Rizzo work, because the dynamic between Draco and Hermione, it's just so hard to come by in the Dramione fandom. It's just such a unique, and Rizzo is such a talented author to execute everything just to the T. Camera dies. Okay, hopefully this angle is the same as the last. Okay, one last thing that I would say about this story is that The Dragon Bride by Rizzo is my #1 Dramione story ever of all time, and no matter how many stories I have read after The Dragon Bride, nothing has come even close to dethrone The Dragon Bride for me. And even though I have a love-hate relationship with all Rizzo story, I like all of those stories are just live in my head rent-free. So if you guys want to try a Rizzo story and you guys don't want to test the water with such a big work that is The Dragon Bride, I would recommend checking out The Art of Diplomacy, because I feel like this is probably the perfect piece for you to get into the whole Rizzo hype. And I would say that this deserves, you know, all the love that this story has. And if you need just one more push, it is on sending you recommendation list, The Art of Diplomacy, and I think that's how I find this story. But this story is just amazing. Okay, second to the last recommendation that I have for today is Say My Name by Nicoli. Say My Name by Nicoli. And we have just a little bit more than 14,000 words here, so on the shorter size of this video. In this story we have Draco and Harry being our partners, and in this story we have another accident at the Aurora missions where Draco is turned into an animal, and Harry of course doesn't want to take care of a prissy animal that is Draco, so he dumped that animal to Hermione's without Hermione knowing that the animal is Draco. I have mentioned this story before in my details, Hermione details that I love, but I never delve into like so much detail on this story. But if you guys are into that name thing when it comes to Draco and Hermione, you guys know whenever they Draco and Hermione, we die a little. You guys, if you guys know what I'm talking about, this story, the whole plot is around the name thing, because it's literally titled Say My Name. And in this story you will kind of go deeper into that aspect of their relationship, where saying the first name is kind of like taking them to a new territory that they are not comfortable with. And when they finally cross the path, cross the horizon in order to enter that realm where they Draco and Hermione each other, it's game over. This story is the journey that you guys will walk through in order to see yourself on the other side where they Draco and Hermione each other. Okay, I would say that maybe the way that I describe it sounds very one-dimensional for this story, but it just touched the deepest corner of my heart, okay, with this story. So if you guys are into that name thing, if you guys are looking for a quick, easy but not one-dimensional read, please go ahead and check this story out, because you will not regret it. Okay, the last story that I want to recommend for this video is one that I don't know if I should recommend to you guys anymore, because I don't know if you guys can access it, and I want to respect the author's wish of not having this story on the internet. It is One Each Day by Long Distance. So one of the short story that I came back so often after I finished the story, and I reread it so many times, and that's why I want to include this in this video. Long Distance has seen, as some of you may know, remove all the fic from the internet, and I love this story so much. And Long Distance wrote some of the most amazing marriage love story ever, but I respect the author's decision to stay off the internet. But other than that, I think that's all I have for this video, and I love every single story in this video so much with all of my heart. You don't have to worry about the quality of any story in this video, and that's why I don't talk about the plot, the premise, or the characterization or relationship development between Draco and Hermione like I usually do in my other video. That was me being a rapper. I don't go into those details because I just rate this story very highly in terms of quality, and I think that you guys will not have a bad time with this story in regard to quality. So if any of the plot sounds very interesting to you, if any of the synopsis catch your ears, then please go ahead and read the story because they're just amazing, because they're just short. You can knock it out in one go and have an amazing time with it, okay? And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Love you guys.